All right. Can you write a message into assembly chat to check if the chat is working and if everyone can hear me? How's the voice quality? All right. So we will wait for a few minutes for our guest to arrive. Until then, let's stay patient. All right. It seems like our guest has arrived. All right. 1 second.
Yes, hello, comrades.
Hello, comrade. So, thanks a lot for tuning in today. I'm really glad to have you with us. Would you like to give a short introduction into the listening audience about who you are?
Okay. We are Revolution Alliance of Labor. Comrade, sorry, did we give the introduction?
Yes, of course.
There was in the.
Yeah. All right. So, hello, dear comrades, dear listeners. Today I wanted to have an Ask Me Anything event with the Revolutionary Alliance of Labor of Serbia. But before we start, I wanted to make a short announcement. There seems to have been some confusion in regards to our server name, which until a few days ago was Unity&Struggle. I wanted to apologize for having had used the name. I just wanted to remind everyone that we're not on an official ICMLPO forum, and consequently, we have changed our name from Unity&Struggle to another more general name called Marxist-Leninists. And so, in order to avoid confusion, we're not officially endorsed by the ICMLPO Coordination Committee. Neither do I or the server claim to represent any particular parties. The Revolutionary Alliance of Labor is here on their own accord, as they have been invited by me personally to advertise the organization and ask a few questions which have been asked by you, the user base on our server. And the current event will be live streamed to YouTube. And yeah, let's begin. So, hello, comrade. Would you like to give a short introduction?
Yes. Hello, comrades. I just wanted to tell you that the CIPOML is and CIPOML parties are obviously participating here and support your initiative, your engagements in popularizing Marxism-Leninism. So this is a good effort, but in the same time, we have to be correct and we have to listen to the party, of course. So we are a CIPOML party from Serbia. It's a Revolutionary Alliance of Labor. We are also present. We have members in our leading forums from Croatia, and we have contacts mostly everywhere where Serbo-Croatian language is speaking dominantly. We are organized on 18th of January and 19th of January in 2020. It was a founding forum back then, and then we called. We wanted to join the CIPOML, and we earned this trust, and so we are now part of it as an observer member. Of course, like every party that or organization has to go through the process of 2 or 3 years, which means that it cannot vote, but it's part of the. It's in this fraternal atmosphere with comrades from the International Conference of the Marxist-Leninist parties and organizations. We will speak in more in details about our some of our actions, about some of our stands. So if anything particular here in general is of interest, you can ask, I guess.
All right. So thank you very much for the introduction. Would you like to say something about you as a person, what your name is?
Yes, I represent here the action committee of the Revolutionary Alliance of Labor. I'm Comrade Marko, and I'm participating in revolutionary activism and in class struggle for some time, for about a decade, and so are the other comrades that are involved in our organization. So it is organization of like we say, the old activists and of the new young proletarians like you are, for example.
All right. Thank you very much. My name is Felix. I'm from Germany and a sympathizer with Arbeit Zukunft. I have been made aware of my country's ICMLP organization a few months ago, as I have come across one of their articles, which they publish in their regularly published newspaper. It was called Leftist Scene or Labor Movement, which I've particularly enjoyed, and as such, I've gotten into contact with the party, and I really hope to continue expanding my personal cooperation with the organization for a construction of a Communist Workers' Party of Germany, Arbeit Zukunft, in the future. All right. So, dear comrades at the Revolutionary Alliance of Labor, I've seen that you have made a name change from RSRS to Sovietsrada. Could you explain a bit about the name change?
It is not. It cannot be called a real name change of name, but it is just reforming the national structure. So when we realize that there are also comrades from not only from Serbia. I mean, from the start, even you can all check our founding Congress and the documents from there. There you can find that from the beginning there is a Balkanic moment in the organization. So there was this Serbian moment because we were the strongest. We have this basis in Serbia, and because of the CIPOML recognition as a Serbian organization. But in meantime, more comrades are coming not only from Serbia. So we have this it is still a national organization. I mean, we are active in Serbia. We are getting to be active in Croatia. We could be active in Bosnia. We could be active in Montenegro. Everywhere, or in Macedonia also. We have lots of contacts in Macedonia. So everywhere where Serbo-Croat language is spoken, you can probably find Marxist-Leninists. So I mean, everywhere where any language is speaking, you can find Marxist-Leninists, but you can find probably organized Marxist-Leninists. So this is just this little, it is this. If this seems confusing to you, this is of course, the reflection of the very confusing reality, because the post-Yugoslav crisis is still there. Still, it is not solved. And while we are speaking, there are some clashes, and there are lots of problems that wait to be solved. So, of course, this is part of this. I hope that I answered your question in a responsible manner.
Thank you very much. You answered it in a very responsible manner. I have a little question. As Albania is another Balkan country as well, I wanted to ask you if you have any strong particular cooperation with the Communist Party of Albania, and if so, do you plan on building stronger ties in the future?
Of course, we respect and love Albania in many ways, because some great Marxist-Leninists are from this country, and it is very much connected with Yugoslav revisionism. And in this way, socialist Albania is very important also for us. And we are also trying to look at this not only through international lenses, but as a part of our national lenses, because it is a part of all these questions in the national boundaries. For us, it is Balkans, pot. I don't know, did I have the good word? The keg, the Balkans keg. So yes, we have of course contacts with our Albanian comrades, and we hope that all this cooperation, all this rising of Marxism-Leninism on the Balkans would get its manifestations, its forms.
All right. I really hope that you will strengthen the ties in the future as well. And
yes, we hope also.
I'm really glad to see the uprising of Marxist-Leninist movements in the Balkans in the recent years. As you have mentioned Yugoslav revisionism, I wanted to ask you how much influence does Yugoslav revisionism assert on labor and communist movements in the Balkans nowadays? Is Titoism prominent in communist parties in Serbia and Croatia?
This question is very important, and I don't know how it will be short, but I will try to be as much short and clear as I can. We should first consider that modern revisionism is heterogeneous. It has, of course, some characteristics which are general. That is bourgeois nationalism. That is right-wing social democracy. That is restoration of capitalism. That is Bukharinism and Bogdanovism, and all these kinds of stuffs that are general. But in a way, it has its characteristics in Khrushchevian revisionism has some different characteristics than Maoism, for example, and especially Titoism, which is concentration of also international modern revisionism and organizer of international revisionism. So it's a particular branch of revisionism which is extreme. So about Tito and about Yugoslav revisionism, the story is I mean, very, very clear, but we have to speak about it because people are not aware of it. in nowadays you have to read Dimitrov's texts from the period of struggle against Titoist bourgeois nationalism, and there you can find lots of interesting stuff. And also, of course, the resolution of the Cominform, which manifested itself in a I cannot say brilliant way, but everything which was said there was afterwards got into reality. So Dimitrov said one interesting thing that actually Tito is King Alexander instead of King Alexander, and in a way he's, for example, on the case of Macedonia, he's taking the stand similar to the old great Serbian chauvinist stand. So what is the point in the resolution of the Cominform is this Titoism is taking the path of bourgeois nationalism. So this is the main characteristic of it. This is presented in the monstrous chauvinist war in Yugoslavia, and it is also the case now. So there are lots of so-called left forces that are, as Lenin said it, they got this petty bourgeois milk. So they got this Titoist milk, and they are Titoists many times while they even don't know it. So lots of we have to struggle against many bourgeois nationalist ideas and practice, and we also have to struggle against lots of Trotskyism here, against lots of anti-communism, of course, disguised as very brutal reactionary liberalism, and or not even liberalism. It is also, as I said, it is chauvinism basically. So I can go more and more. I would like to be asked some questions because it is a story, of course.
All right. So I have one more question, or
Mhm.
two more, on the topic of Titoism and revisionism. In the number 42 of the Unity and Struggle, the theoretical journal of the ICMLPO, released in May of 2021, in your article, Is China a Socialist Country? I have read something that you wrote, where you said that Maoism is expanded Titoism. Could you maybe tell our audience in the General Assembly something about how Maoism is expanded Titoism?
Okay, I suggest everybody to read this text and to read Unity and Struggle in general. There are some also very important texts by the sister parties. Titoism and Maoism and Khrushchev, I mean, all these trends of revisionism has some similarities, and they are very similar to this Bukharinist case, which was so-called left communism in the first place. Lenin fought against this infantile ideas with his book Infantile Disorder and Left-Wing in Communism. I think it's full name. And then he went in the right-wing opposition and went in this restoration of capitalism. So this is the basis also for Titoism and Maoism. They were acting, speaking left and acting right. So this is, I mean, story could be more detailed, but this is, I think, the dominant. We can speak more about this, and we can, I mean, reading these texts and so on. But this is the general, probably, future characteristics.
Thank you very much. So my last general question is, what do you think is the current theoretical significance of Enver Hoxha for many Marxist-Leninists today, as Maoists and Trotskyists, etc., call Enver Hoxha a dogmatic Stalinist. Do you think that people around the globe should read Enver Hoxha, and is he a essential component of Marxism-Leninism in order to understand revisionism and its consequences? Hello? Comrade, I can't hear you right now. Did your internet crash or is it mine? All right, dear audience, I would like to apologize for the short interruption. It seems like Revolutionary Alliance of Labor and Comrade Marco are currently having some technical issues. I'm sure they will reconnect shortly. So please be patient. In the meanwhile, you can leave some feedback in the chat about what you think so far of the Ask Me Anything event, if there's anything particular that you would like to have addressed. Okay, 1 second. I'll be right back. All right. So the internet of Comrade Marco crashed. It has just been fixed. I will re-invite him back to the stage. I apologize for the interruption. We will continue right now. All right. I apologize for the short interruption. Did you hear my last question?
Yes, I heard you. Was I heard at all, or was I cut immediately?
You were cut immediately.
Okay,
apologize.
Enver needs to be read, of course, and he's giving lots of clues for lots of answers that the modern world is still confused about. And as Comrade Alfonso also said in the last interview, Marxist-Leninists should be more loud and should be louder because they really have the answers for lots of problems that modern world, the bourgeoisie and the other classes that are reserve of it don't are not really even close to it. So Enver is really important. It is also very important for Yugoslavia to read Enver, to understand much better what's happening in Yugoslavia, because you can find that Enver is speaking about the things that will happen very soon after this. Like 10 years before, he's speaking, telling you what will happen. So Enver is important, very much.
All right. Is there any particular book that you would suggest a person? What is the one piece by Enver Hoxha that you would suggest a person that is trying?
Imperialism. Can I speak?
Yeah, of course. Sorry.
Imperialism and the Revolution is a very important book to understand modern revisionism. Enver was in position to give a full theoretical explanation of modern revisionism. Although we have already Stalin and Dimitrov fighting against modern revisionism, fighting against bourgeois nationalism, giving all the preconditions to struggle against it. But Enver was in historical position to give a total theoretical evaluation of it. So it is very important to read this book. But it is important to read Enver in general. Some other books that I can remember. You can go to our library and we translated the text Marxist-Leninist movement and world crisis of capitalism. We translated the texts about Yugoslav self-administration. There are lots of texts that we propagate and we translated from anywhere. So yes.
All right. For everyone curious about the library, I have posted a link to the library in the assembly chat, and you can go there and check it out. I have to say it's a really good library, and there are a lot of noteworthy PDF files. And in regards to your book suggestion, I think that Imperialism at the Revolution is a really good book. I and a German comrade of mine have read the book recently, and I have to agree, it's a really great piece of literature, and I suggest everyone who hasn't read Imperialism at the Revolution yet to do so. I can't suggest it enough. All right, so thank you very much, Comrade Marco. That were the questions which I wanted to ask you personally, and now it's up to the audience. Now we will get to the part in which I will read out the question of the people that didn't want to read out their questions themselves and or couldn't be present or for whatever other particular reason. Uh, can I go ahead?
Of course.
Oh, all right. So the first question comes by Comrade Rail. The question goes as follows. What are your relations with other noteworthy communist organizations in the country or region? With whom do you, if you do, cooperate the most?
The comrade wasn't there to ask the question.
Sorry, could you please repeat that? I couldn't hear for a second.
Comrade wasn't there to ask the question.
Yes, but that's why I asked the question.
So next question should be asked by someone who is there, so to get this more interesting. You agree?
Sorry, actually, the plan is that first we actually go. There are only a few questions which are asked by people that can't be present. The plan is that we first go over those questions, and then we will get everyone else. I'm sorry, this has been organized this way beforehand.
I suggest that you mix it up a bit, but as you want. So I don't know why this is so much important question about the other organizations. We are the only Marxist-Leninist organization on the Balkans, so they don't exist other communist organizations. There are some organizations they claim to be communist. There are many people on the left, and we work very tightly with those friends, with good democratic friends. We are working hardly to build People's Front, to engage all the left and all the other revolutionary and democratic forces into alliance to isolate the reactionary ruling class and imperialist forces. So this is our task and our actions. So maybe someone is interested in some particular organizations, so we can speak about them. But I don't know what of those are worth of it.
Is there any organization that you have particularly good or particularly bad relations with?
This is the way we think. With those who lie about themselves, we don't have all the best opinion. With those who say they are communists but are not communists, there is not the best opinion about those people. But those who don't claim they're communists, for those who claim that they're some social democrats, or if they are anarchists, or they're left wings, or if they are some revolutionary democratic force, we like to work with honest people and with honest democratic forces, honest anti-fascist, anti-imperialist democratic forces.
All right. Thank you very much. I would like to move on to the next question. It has been asked by Comrade Colonel. The question goes as follows. Do you plan on visiting cities and regions to boost local movements?
Can you repeat it, please?
Do you plan on visiting cities and regions to boost local movements?
How come that Colonel is not on here? He should be here. Yes, of course, and we will meet. I hope sometime soon.
All right. Actually, that's. Did Colonel contact you? Did they? Did he want to participate in your organization by any chance?
We should not, I guess, speak about this.
Ah, yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry. Then I apologize. All right. Then let's move on to the next question. It has been asked by Silver. What is your plan for a socialist revolution in the current Serbian nation?
We think that we have a task to organize the People's Democratic Revolution and to organize the People's Democratic Power and to build socialism. So this is our general plan, and there are lots of fronts that we are engaged about this. We are working among the working class, trying to organize and unite the working class, because we understand that only the united working class can unite all people's democratic forces, which can engage struggle against the reactionary rule of monopoly capitalism, which here on the Balkans makes so much crisis and so much confusion. So we also are working, of course, on the unity and the revolutionary unity of the peoples of the Balkans, which is also important for this struggle. So basically, those are the general lines of our plan.
All right. Thank you very much.
In building socialism, particularly in Serbia, we have some suggestions about in our programmatic declarations, and also in a program that we are writing for the next conference. So there are some political economic suggestions that we have for this power of people's democracy. So we can speak more about this, but you're not the comrade who asked the question, so he could ask more questions. So maybe I could ask myself and to speak more about this and to tell you these general lines. We think that in a country like Serbia and similar to them, as Lenin said, also for Russia it was very important in that moment, but it is also relative today to get the state monopoly on foreign trade. This is very important and crucial point for building socialism in a country like ours. So we were also suggesting to, of course, build socialism relying on our own forces, and this should be predominant way to gain the accumulation, socialist accumulation, as it was called in Soviet Union in one moment, but it was argued also. So the basic lines are that in this state monopoly on foreign trade, of course, you're trading with the world, and you can trade with the world much better than without this state monopoly on foreign trade. And in internal relations, we should also listen to Lenin and to use some of his policies. to organize the let me say internal market in very limited very limited way, in a way of exploiting the workforce. Workforce should be eliminated in the first days of the people's democratic power, and this how we say reviving the economy should be based on very limited or not at all exploitation of the workforce, of actually liquidation of wage labor. So it is not what I want to say, that the idea is not to do what is China doing, because China is doing something completely different. When we say market, it is just a word that we found in this moment. What we want to say is that the peasant needs to get support to have a economic exchange with the cities, and so we can accumulate our economy for the social industrialization and for the collectivization of the farming. So I don't know, was I too long or maybe confusing, but you can ask something more if this seems legit to you.
I think that is. I think you've elaborated on the question perfectly. Definitely not too long, especially considering that it's a very important question. I think you've addressed all of the different aspects of a socialist revolution correctly, and thanks a lot for elaborating on the state monopoly of foreign trade that well. I think some of the viewers who are just here to learn something about the Serbian socialist revolutionary movement can learn something about communist theory and the correct way of handling certain political questions. So I think this is not just an event advertising a political party, but I'm sure that some people learn something theoretically about Marxism-Leninism as well. All right. So can I move on to the next question?
Sure.
The next question is by Comrade Light. Unfortunately, he isn't present with us today. What role does the European Union play in class struggle, if any? Would Brexit be considered a step forward or back for the proletariat?
Well, we see that Brexit is manifestation. You should all read Economic Problems of the Soviet Union by Stalin. This is his masterpiece. And there he said something very interesting. He said that only on the surface you can think that the United States are holding firm on Europe. They will fight again between each other. So this is what is happening with Brexit, and we see that there are quarreling between Western powers themselves. They are not united, and we should when we say West, like West is, there are lots of Wests. There is working West, there is imperialist West. In this imperialist West camp there are also factions. So this is what I can say about Brexit, I think.
And do you think that in regards to labor laws, or for example, do you think that the EU brings forward capitalist exploitation of the workers more or less than a few reactionary national states themselves would do without constructs like the European Union?
European Union is a monopoly union, so it brings only reactionary laws. Of course, we can see this everywhere. Every country in the Balkans is just going. You go into European Union, and you just get everything. Just get more expensive. Nothing else you get. So surely that the European Union is not bringing any progressive forces here. It's it's actually not solving the imperialist crisis, but supporting it, but facilitating it, but not just facilitating it, but it is a factor of it. So, but in the same time, of course, we also recognize the progressive forces in Europe, like our sister parties, lots of sister parties from Europe, from Germany, from France, from Spain, from Italy, from Turkey, from Greece, and so on, from Denmark, from Norway. Brilliant Marxist-Leninists and important forces that show that there are also progressive forces that we can count on there in the rear of imperialism.
All right. Thank you very much. I really appreciated the answer. So the next question is by Comrade Stefan. He has a question which goes as follows. What is your organization's line on the peasant and semi-proletarian rural areas of Serbia?
We lots of peasants and semi-proletarians from these rural areas are lots of young peoples are going away from these rural areas, and they are becoming, of course, like in any capitalist industrialization, if we can call this industrialization, this is deindustrialization, but in this capitalist accumulation, part of it is to destroy the village and to make more proletarians. So this is also what is happening here. But of course, with the peasants, we have the Lenin's ideas, and we want our People's Front to engage the middle peasants and the poor peasants, and to get we should get more poor peasants, of course, to work with them to try to get them involved also in the party. So also the middle peasants in the party, of course. So this is a good question that reminds us of this on this task.
I think that a noteworthy piece of Marxist literature, which addresses this question as well, is Stalin's masterpiece, as you have called it, The Economic Problems of Socialism in the USSR. I think he, in a very genius manner, addressed the fundamental problem of the countryside slowly withering away. Because there's an inherent contradiction between the city and the countryside, which is inherent to the capitalist mode of production, and as such, these questions can only be resolved through socialism. I think that the contradiction between the city and the countryside is a question that has been very well addressed in Stalin's Economic Problems, and I suggest everyone to read that piece of literature.
Yes, definitely. Stalin brilliantly gave the lines of socialist construction, and this is actually part of the question to get on the way of communism. This is why Stalin wrote these lines about how to destroy the difference between the village and the cities, how to destroy the difference between the manual and intellectual labor, how to one more thing to add here.
How to eliminate the difference between non-antagonistic classes.
What?
How to eliminate the difference between non-antagonistic classes like the peasants and the proletarians.
Yes. This is put it correctly. This is good. This is very good.
I know what you wanted to say because I've read the piece, and I think that.
No, I was confused by the dog who is lying outside. I wanted to add something more that, but okay, you can take it over.
I know, no problem. So yes, the fundamental elimination of the contradiction between between the different classes like the peasantry and the proletarians was supposed to be achieved by by an emphasis of the development of heavy industry and thus a mechanization of the countryside via eliminating the difference between the classes of the peasantry and the proletariat by essentially making their working conditions so similar that eventually those classes would die off, and in communism we would have a classless society of not workers or peasants, but just laborers and creative people of communist society.
Okay, this is your interpretation. I cannot say it's wrong, but I can add here that Stalin asked a very, very important question here: how to raise the collective farming, the collective ownership in the village on next level, on the public property. And very important here to notice is that he said that this should not be nationalized, that it is wrong to nationalize the kolkhozes, because this is a part of the question of moving towards communism. And Stalin said, towards communism, we're going to eliminate the state. So we cannot nationalize the villages and the collective farmship. And this is very important to notice, because later on, Khrushchevitians and Brezhnevites have all these ideas which Stalin argued against. So actually, Khrushchev made some nationalizations of the sovkhozes, of the kolkhozes, and I mean, in this he made this. Some of these policies, and later on actually they sold out the machine tractor stations, and they actually made the conditions for privatization of the kolkhozes. It is very important. You also can read the on the revolutionary democracy. You can read the economic roots of modern revisionism. So there often people, first of all, consider something nationalized is socialist, or something in state property is socialist. First of all, this is not complete question. The question is more complex. And second of all, there you can particularly find how in revisionist economies, they were all the time moving from this more liberalism and this more not to say statism, but more state involved in this, and they're all time going from one to the another. And he compared this to Keynesianism and neoliberalism in the West. So this is important to understand. Why? Because you will often hear that this revisionist policy that have this directors, directors in companies, people from socialist states, not socialist from ex-revisionist states. They know what I'm speaking about. The giving more power to directors. They think that this is Stalinism, and this is not Stalinism. Stalinism is Marxism-Leninism. So its economy, it's brilliant and should be read carefully and used properly.
Thank you very much for giving us.
Was this clear? Was this clear, or was this a bit confused?
It was clear, and thanks a lot for the reading suggestion from Revolutionary Democracy. I think they have a great site where there's a lot of great reading material on, especially.
This is very important work by Revolutionary Democracy. They do very important work. You should read all their website and follow the archives. They are actually very important force in the international communist movement, and nothing else should be added to this. And this particular text of Rafael Martinez economic roots of modern revisionism is also very interesting and gives some brilliant notices. And of course, he read economic problems in the USSR by Stalin. So this is connected.
Was the title of the article "At the Roots of Economic Theories of
I
Modern
don't know
Revisionism"?
exactly, but this is the point. You're right. You Google economic roots, modern revisionism, revolutionary democracy, Rafael Martinez, you will get the text.
All right. So thank you very much for the explanation and for the reading suggestion. I hope that the audience will follow your suggestion and check out Revolutionary Democracy after the interview has ended. All right. 3 more questions left, and afterwards I will open up the stage for everyone that has to ask a question in person. All right. So another question by Colonel. Do you plan on organizing political cells in other ex-Yugoslavian countries, or maybe cooperation with other Marxist-Leninist parties?
We already answered this question. We have contacts and we can say cells in the countries when the Serbo-Croatian language is speakable, and we are the only Marxist-Leninist party in this area.
All right. Thank you very much. I agree. All right. The next question is a reformed Yugoslavia feasible, or is it most practical for each nation in the former Yugoslav regions to remain separate from each other after successful revolution in most or all of them?
Well, peoples should unite, not only if they are so close as our peoples here, but also the peoples that were separate for eons and centuries, but now by the modern society are more and more connected, and in socialist society they can together flourish. So we will see what will happen.
All right. And now we come to the last question asked by me for another user. It's by Engelbert. I have read about a similarly named Serbian party called Party of Labor. They seem to also be Marxist-Leninists, but I haven't read much more than that. What is the general consensus regarding them?
We have very much respect of Vlado Dapčević, and apart from that, I don't know what is correct to say more. I mean, we consider honest anti-fascists and honest revolutionary Democrats as our comrades. So some of them, I guess, can be considered like this. And as I can say, we think that we are the only Marxist-Leninist organization because we treat the struggle against revisionism and all the Marxism-Leninism very seriously, and we are connected with the International Conference of Marxist-Leninist Parties and Organizations. So this is enough to claim this. So I don't want to be arrogant at all, but first of all, I don't want to speak anything wrong about anybody else. It is not my mind to speak about this. So we have, of course, we respect good things. I don't know. I was clear enough.
All right. So that were all questions asked by me. I just have one more question myself, and it's about your party structure. Right now, you're a Revolutionary Alliance of Labor. Are you a political organization or a political party? And if you aren't a party yet, do you plan on becoming a party in the future?
We cannot claim that we are still have the force of the party, but we have the party-atness. if this word exists in English. In Russian and Serbian, it exists. So we are, of course, still small organization, and but we see the advance all the time. So I hope that you will hear about us. I hope so.
All right. So now we will come to the questions as asked by the users. So I would like to invite Exter Gorisny Brave to join us on the podium to ask his first question.
All right, howdy. Just let me find my question real quick again. Let's see, there it is. In regard to the Yugoslav wars, was there a way that they could have been avoided from your perspective?
From the Marxist-Leninist perspective, it could be avoided, but not siding with by destroying the Tito's group.
Makes sense.
What?
I said makes sense. Like I
Yes, there is question, but maybe it can be asked later. Was there a struggle? Of course, there was a gigantic struggle, but the Titoist gang, I mean, it used its gangsterist, very how to say, sadistic methods to take that power for them, which they can take in theirs, you know where, because they are dead now, and this is all we have. You know, they got this small power for them to have a big houses on the seaside, and this is it. They're dead now. The houses are no more there, and the country is devastated.
Exter, do you want to ask your second question?
sure. I was just waiting for the go ahead. So my
Well,
second.
no,
Go on.
no, maybe you're not satisfied with the question, so maybe you can ask more, or you can pass on to another question, of course.
This question is super important and close to me. So, like, in your opinion, what country or region is the weak link of imperialism, like the imperial, network or whatever?
I don't know, is this question good, or is it maybe abstract in a way, because you can find this after you make a weak link. Weak link is not just objective situation; it is also subjective situation. So without Lenin, there would be no weak links of imperialism. It is not just, of course, Lenin explained why this situation occurred. But in these terms, we can speak about lots of countries. We can speak about Macedonia, probably. We can speak about Montenegro. But probably here, what is our analysis is that corruption is so high, and that the imperialist crisis is not solving itself. That the only solving of the problem that they will see is another war. So right now, while we're speaking, in Bosnia, there are stuffs that are happening that are very provocative about this situation. So, and in international situation supports this scenario very much. So, this is against we have to struggle. This is what we have to struggle with.
Thank you for your answers.
All right. So
Just to please tell you once more about this. Would the war be avoided? I answered so quickly because I understood. I just took the resolution of the Cominform as known to everybody, like a common place. So that's why the answer was so, I don't know, quick and very in a free way, like some more allegories than the real stance. So this is why I can tell you more about this, that the resolution of the Cominform is very important because it's speaking about the bourgeois nationalism in Yugoslav party that actually manifested itself so cruelly that it's so obvious that only we say the class tyranny. Can somebody help me? Only people who don't want to see it don't see it. That this is the roots of the war. So it can be only the situation could be only saved in this way, to destroy the Tito group and the revisionist group, and to renew the people's power and to build socialism. But this is alternative scenario. This didn't happen, so we should not, lose our time on it.
All right. So, Extra, can I move you back to the listeners?
I'll just do it myself.
All right. So, the next question was asked by ComExtern. I would like to invite you to come to the podium.
Can you hear me?
Yes, hello.
So I have two questions. First one is, what are some examples of recent actions carried out by this organization?
What is this organization? What does it mean, this organization?
I mean, your part.
What organization?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Do you hear me now?
He means the Alliance of Labor.
Oh,
sorry if I misgendered.
Oh, okay. You can follow our website and you can follow.
Sorry, I still can't hear you. Can you give me 1 second?
Now, can you hear me? Felix, do you hear me?
Okay, now I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
So I was asking about the Revolutionary Alliance of Labor.
Okay, you can follow us. We are very precise to inform also international public of about our actions. We were the most important thing I can say is that we were involved in the strike in Fiat Plastic, and we had a great cooperation with Italian comrades about this. We actually made some very important actions that put some influence on the course of the strike, and this is the most important of our actions recently. We also were involved in anti-fascist movement. There was some mobilization in Novi Sad recently. The strike was in Kragujevac, of course, and we also had the action for the 1st May and so on. And of course, the pandemic is giving all this a special moment, but we found our way through it.
Okay, so my second question is, in the case of the formation of a Balkan Federation, how would Dobroja and by extension Romania factor into it, in your opinion?
Are you from Romania?
Yes.
Oh, then you tell us. In Dobruja, I know that in Dobruja there was a Macedonian international internal Macedonian organization. No, internal Dobruja organization was active, right, before the war.
Yes, but what do you think should or would happen if something like that was to happen today?
Well, this would not happen if we not fight for it. This is one point. So part of that to happen is that you help us to give the right answer. What do you think? I'm really interested about it because we need this answer, because when we think about the Balkans, we don't know what to do with the Romanians and what to do with Dobruja and what to do with. We need the comrades from Romania to discuss about this.
I don't have a very strong opinion about it yet, but I do think there should be some. I'm trying to think of a word for it. Some tie, I guess.
So Dobruja is with Bulgarian population, right?
Yes, there is south of our Dobroja, there is Bulgarian part.
So is there some political movement there?
We don't have any. We don't have any communist parties here. Just
no communist parties. Is there some national political movement about the national rights of Bulgarians? Do they have some aspirations?
There isn't anything major.
So why there is a question? There is not a question.
Well, my question was in general, how do you think the national question should be handled?
Well, in general, this is the general case. We see the forces and we deal with them. If there are not national aspirations in Dobruja, who are we to raise them? I mean, what do you think about this? I mean, there is not even a political movement, so this is not at all the question.
Well, yes, but I was asking more generally about how it would fit. Like I said, I don't have a strong opinion on it yet. I need to study it more.
Yeah. You should give your time to maybe some more important questions, I guess. If this is not something, obviously, it is not some question right now. It is not something that the Balkan depends on, or even Romania and Bulgaria, or even Dobruja, I guess.
I agree mostly.
Yes.
All right. Do you have any other questions, Comrade Comixtern?
No, that's it. Thank you for answering.
All right.
So
thank you very much.
And it is good to get to know the Romanian comrades. This is positive.
Thank you.
Because we are asking where are the Romanian comrades?
All right. So the next person to join the stage is Comrade Inquisitor. I invite you to ask your 2 questions.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Salute.
we can hear you.
All right, so just a sec. So my first question was on the restoration of Yugoslavia, if such an opportunity arises an anti-revisionist state. I think you already answered that, right? You would support that.
Yes. Yes. I think also.
We'll just skip that then. The second one is the plans of organization parties in neighbor states or aiding their development. So do you want to organize those parties you mentioned as independent parties, or do you want to create an international organization?
Where are you from? Like a national parties. Where are you from?
Croatia.
Oh, good. So you can get in touch with us.
I will.
Okay. See you, comrade.
All right. I think that was that.
All right. So, unfortunately, a person had to leave due to time constraints. The person is Cynthia. They asked a question, which goes as follows: how does the party feel about Kosovo's independence?
Yes, this is question that we expected. We of course support the self-determination of Albanian people, and here we have the same stand as Enver had during the war. There was also the question: the Kosovo was part of Italian protectorate, as is it now part of imperialist protectorate. So Enver said that after the war, people should, in democratic way and respecting self, sorry, I lost my point. Respecting self. What is the word, Felix? Remind me. Determination.
Self-determination.
Yes, and with respect to determination, the question should be solved.
Or national autonomy.
Enver respected this, but Tito didn't respect this, so the problem got more deep. And we think that our main task is to unite the Balkans people in this question, in the national questions. One of the part of the task is to liquidate chauvinism. We cannot solve national questions while chauvinism is there. Chauvinism will just make problems and wars. So to liquidate chauvinism, we also need to engage internationalism, of course, proletarian internationalism and revolutionary democratic unions between the peoples. So in this way, if we want to build our alliances like this, we have to respect all the peoples, and we have to respect the truth. So this is, in general, what we can say about this. I'm very sorry that Comrade Cynthia is not there, maybe to talk more about these questions. I would like that some Albanian comrades are here to give their perspective, and so we can clear our minds on this question, which is very complex because even I think among the political camp in Kosovo, there are not clear ideas what to do, and here also there are not any clear ideas. Nobody knows what to do. So we are the clearer from them all, but we are the most clear. I want to say that only the line of Marxism-Leninism can solve this problem. So that is why we need to deepen this stand.
All right. Thank you very much. The next person, MJX.
Of course, just to say, the main point which I didn't say, I think, is struggle against imperialism, and this is why we need to liquidate chauvinism, because it is the ally of imperialism. This is the bourgeois nationalism that is this is the dominant ideology in this imperialist crisis. So we have to engage in these questions very hard, very serious manner.
Unfortunately, it seems like the next person who wanted to ask a question didn't manage to come here. It's a question by Comrade MJX, which goes as follows. What is your analysis regarding the current political, social, and economic situation in the Balkans? Do you think that you want to answer this question, or has this already been answered before?
It is answered before.
All right. So the next one is NSJ Eagleclaw, Hosha's party member. Welcome to the stage. You're free to ask your 4 questions. Are you talking right now, or is it just my internet? I'm sorry, comrade. We can't hear you right now. Is your microphone plugged in correctly? If you can't ask a question yourself, then please write me a message in the assembly chat and I'll read it out for you. All right. While you're fixing your microphone, we will ask you a bit later once you have your microphone fixed. In the meanwhile, I would like to welcome Red Matter to the podium, and we'll get back to your questions soon. All right.
Hello, comrades.
Hello,
comrade. Welcome.
So, yes, I'll make it short. My question is, what forms of concrete struggle do you suggest for comrades who, due to a lack of other parties, are currently involved with revisionist parties?
Please repeat.
Okay, so my question is, what forms of concrete struggle do you suggest for comrades who, for the reason of not having other non-revisionist parties, are involved with the activities of revisionist parties in regards to within the party, outside the party, etc.?
Well, from our experience, they should make a Marxist-Leninist party. Revisionist parties are just killing young souls, destroying young souls.
All right. So I will add to the question a bit of an extension. If the situation is, for example, in where I live in Israel, the part that is of Palestine is currently Israel, there is one party which is pretty revisionist. It doesn't like Stalin. It doesn't like approaching revolutionary goals immediately in any meaningful way. But as for now, but as Marxist-Leninists were very few within this area. So the question is, what should we do? Should we gather resources and do something different? Or should we, like some other comrades have suggested in the past to us, get involved with the party and try to work with it or within it?
We think you should gather resources and organize Marxism-Leninism. And this is very important. This is very important. What I wanted to suggest is we like to say that we have stubborn heads but soft hearts. So we need to stick to our very persistently to our revolutionary principles, as Stalin says. in the Barkets, he writes not to mix it with sectarianism. And in the same time, we have soft hearts. We want to engage with the masses of people. We want to make alliances with the working people, with the working people, with the other working people with the other democratic people. So we want to make a wide revolutionary alliances and to have ties with the masses. Again, Stalin adds not to confuse with opportunism or tailism. You know what is tailism. So it is where you cannot, we think that you cannot actually, you will lost your perspective, you lost your time if you don't stick with the Marxist-Leninist organization, if you don't build with your struggle Marxist-Leninist organization, because we all forgot what is the okay, we don't this is for another topic, but this is very important. And you can also, while making your party, not your party, but Marxist-Leninist party, you can still be involved in the struggle. No, you can still, but you can much better be involved in the struggle. And also you can struggle where the revisionists are struggling. If you think, I don't know, if you have this tactical moment and there are some rank and file there are some rank and file people that are connected to revisionism. Maybe you can work with them also and be engaged in this struggle. But it is very important to build the Marxist-Leninist organization and to follow the CIPOML.
Okay, thank you very, very much for that answer. It definitely did give me a comprehensive understanding of your experience in this topic. Thank you. And I hope it will be useful for other comrades around the world who are facing similar questions. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for the question, I guess.
All right. So the next question is by Comrade Sonia. Would you like to join us on the stage to ask your question? All right. I've been requested to ask the question for Sonia. The question is, what are your thoughts on gender critical / TERF, which stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminism, and its presence among some communist groups in Serbia?
Well, this is mostly present among the Trotskyist groups. And we understand that this is dividing the movement, the feminist movement, I guess, but it's also making confusion in the struggle for the women's rights. So we are very much trying to engage in this question. We highly understand that, as Marx said, as Lenin said, as Stalin said, and as Enver said, no revolution without women. So this we understand very seriously and trying to develop more in this matter, of course, in a proper Marxist-Leninist way. We respect everybody, but we think that the liberation of women cannot be achieved without people's power and building of socialism and way to communism.
All right. In that regard, could I ask you about your organization's position on the LGBT community and the LGBT movement as a whole? This is a question originating from me, which just came up.
I just wanted to add that actually, one of our comrades is writing, is engaged in this question very much about the previous question, and we should expect all that he will write in some time some more detailed text about our stance on these questions, because this is becoming a question also here, and the comrade noticed that very good. Of course, we support the struggle of LGBT people and all groups attacked by the dictatorship of the capitalist crisis and of this reactionary misanthrope ideas that it's facilitating.
All right, so I would like to welcome someone back to the stage. Comrade Hosha is party member. Comrade, can you join us? All right. Since it seems like we don't get a reply, let's go to the next question first, by Comrade Taput.
Hello.
Hello.
My question is simple, but I think very crucial. How can we better fight against revisionism, protect our ideology and our spaces from it? And is the threat generally in the Rojaist sphere overstated or understated?
Can you just last part to repeat the last part? Is it where overstated or underestimated?
In our space, basically among the people who consider themselves Rojaists, is the threat of revisionism understated, overstated, or just right?
Okay, we are not very clear about this Rojaist term. We are Marxist-Leninists, Stalinists, of course, Enverists, but we like to use the Marxist-Leninist term. So, of course, Stalinist and Enverist is also very cool for us, and this is not a mistake. But it is just a symptom that you use this word, so I'm just trying to point you in one moment. But your question is really crucial. Our personal no experience, but our personal view on this is that the struggle against revisionism is understated, and that we should be more decisive about it, because it is pure gangsterism. It is not a faction of the workers' movement. Where there is. We have to acknowledge this. There are some revisionists that are connected with the workers. But you know how Stalin said? Stalin said, in some cities, workers are following revisionists, but that doesn't mean that they are proletarian. One day, how he said, I forgot the name of these birds. He said one day, Svraka je pronašla ružu, ali nije još uvijek postala slavuj. If anybody can translate, this could be interesting. Like once ugly bird find a rose, but it didn't become a beautiful bird. So this was what Stalin said. He really said this about the revisionists, that some workers are following revisionism, but this is not changing their character. So, of course, there are some workers that follow revisionists, but this doesn't change their character in general. This is, of course, pure gangsterism and the worst enemy within our ranks, and the main enemy we should resolutely destroy, so we can rise our struggle on much more serious level.
Thank you very much. What methods would you recommend in order to better fight against it?
Well, to fight more against it. I mean, the forms of the struggle against revisionism are already known. We should engage more in the working class movement. We should be more persistent to Marxism-Leninism. We should engage more connections with proletarians, with the young people, with women. We should strengthen our ranks and be vigilant all the time, destroying revisionism in all our actions. And as Enver said, we like this very much. He said in this text, Marxist-Leninist movement and Crisis of Capitalism, he said, we must always differ from revisionists. So the working people can see that we are different from revisionists and and right-wing social democrats, that we are Marxist-Leninists. So this is that we should learn them more progressive actions, not to only satisfy with this passiveness of revisionism, but not to be satisfied with that, not a second, all the time struggling against it and try to empower the working class movement and the international communist movement. This is the task of your generation, comrades, of course, of our also, but we need you, we need more more and more young comrades, more and more proletarians to use this powerful force that we have, the brilliant Marxist-Leninist revolutionary theory that if we use properly, nobody can stop us.
I agree. Thank you very much.
All right. So in Germany, we have a good saying, which goes as follows: Aller guten Dinge sind drei. In English, it's all good things come in threes. Hopefully, this will work out with asking your questions. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you very much. I would like to apologize for the certain technical issues that I had in the previous calling back here. But also before that, I would like to also, before I ask any certain of these questions that I have prepared for this tonight, for a certain small incident that happened between me and Revolution Alliance of Labor here in this Discord, I would like to apologize for that small incident over there. Just so we are clear, I do not hold those reactionary attitudes that you might have thought in that previous debate. So I would like to apologize for that in that regards. But in either case, if I may ask the questions, here they are. So basically, specifically regarding the issue from our country, there has been a general rise of many YouTube channels. For instance being Balkan Info, Slavia Info, and Serbia Global, all of which are oriented toward tolerable far-right politics. And as such, what are the chances of a possible connection with State Security Agency, that is Bezbednosna Informacijna Agencija, as well as how to fight against such propaganda that has increased the overall insanity of Serbian ultranationalism that just 20 years ago would not be accepted by a majority of population.
Hello, comrade. Well, we have the manifestation of this that you noticed also in our movement. So it is popular to call this influence and these factions of this alt-left, we would call them, not just alt-right, but the hand of the alt-right in our movement. We call them the Chetno left. Not we, but everybody are calling this faction the Chetno left. And there are lots of we will not say confused people, but disguised people that are trying to represent them as left, but they're with all kinds of ties connected with this case that you very good noticed. Can I ask you where are you from?
I am from the, you know where Montenegro is, right? From the Gorica region. This is the, what was it called in English? It's called the Opština in our language.
In Russian, it's called Opština, yeah.
Well, Opština. I speak both Russian and my own, that is Serbian, that is so to speak.
but you have this Russian dialect.
Well, to a certain extent, because I was overexposed to the Russian and such. So,
Okay.
in either case, yeah, that's the good issue you have represented here. But it's not only just that. I have specifically asked about Balkan Info, which is known for its hosting of ridiculous far-right theories and other propaganda points that
Yes, your
are.
notice is very good. I just deepen this question. I don't have any comment as to that. This is true what you're saying. That yeah, this is the alt-right rising and the rising of great chauvinist ideas, and also influencing our movement. So
That's indeed true. The thing is, though, what I have noticed is that YouTube, unlike what I have seen in the West, there has been no action taken by YouTube itself upon any of this. If anything, it's completely monopolized. Like you could see basically all of those commercials over there, like apparently 30 of them. It's almost as if you're watching a regular TV program, but you know what it is. Basically, they talk about aliens and Vatican is the evil church. Basically, it levels the certain levels of anti-Semitism, but it's all monopolized because who gives a shit about Catholics? Am I right, mate? I don't know, but
yes,
that's how
it's
it is.
crazy. It's crazy.
That's why I said it's tolerable far-right politics. Because if they said something about Jews, well, I don't know, they will get banned.
Uh, yes, we can agree. Yeah, these are disguised fascists. This is so they are using some tactics, some new tactics, but these are not so new tactics. This is just the good old opportunist tactics. So this is the situation.
Of course. The only time they have ever actually hosted someone who is remotely left-wing was the NKPA, that is Nova Komunistička
Well,
Partija Yugoslavije.
can you repeat this again? Because and to claim, it is not accident that they are there.
Well, Novaya Komunistička Partija Yugoslavije.
Okay, we don't want to propagate any revisionists in our channel, so
And of course, the actual KPJ, that is Komunistička Partija Yugoslavije.
you explain me everything, putting them in this context, and this is the most.
No actual left wing is promoted there. All right. Well, nothing is lost there.
What?
Anyways,
Yes.
on to the second question. Now we have discussed about the certain of we discussed about Slovenia info and all such. In the current situation, where does the biggest support base for your party lie in Serbia in particular?
Well, I base this is coming from the working class and from the working youth.
Well, that is indeed true, though my question was specifically more aimed at the region, so to say, like in what certain region, that is Kraljevo or let's say Novi Sad, those cities, basically.
Yes, you can follow there. We have a regular monthly papers, and there we always put contacts where you can find our papers or get in touch with our comrades. So usually there are Belgrade, Novi Sad, Kragujevac, Paraćin, Šabac, and cities like this. So we are what is most important present in the 3 from 4 most biggest and industrial cities, and we have those contacts in the provinces. So we are based in mostly in Kragujevac, Novi Sad, and Belgrade. We are there. We have their presence and the influence, and this is in Serbia. And yeah, in Pančevo there are also our comrades. So yes.
All right, that is good to know. So basically, if I understood this correctly, so communists are basically more popular in the certain regions, like basically onto the south, so to say. that correct?
Well, on the south, the traditional partisan movement is very much present. Actually, my grandfather is a people's hero, and he is from the more south. So yes, this is true, and this is a good point from you. We are also trying to engage more around the niche, and we had some how to say this. Sometimes we have some results, but we still didn't manage to get some stable contact there.
That's good to know.
Yes.
At least we now know where the Chetnikoid Central lies ahead, basically in Kraljevo. Anyway, so on to now to my
In
third
Kraljevo,
question.
you say the projects are the strongest. Yes.
Of course. So on to my next question.
We will call you as a general strategist in the decisive moments.
Oh, that's good to know, I guess. May I now ask my question without interruption? Sorry about that. So basically, would the collapse of US spark a chance for potential uprising against bourgeois regime, or will it go towards reaction entirely?
What does it mean, collapse of the USA? There would not be collapse of the USA. United States are old as a bourgeois revolution is old, as revolution is old. So I don't think that the United States will collapse, but or maybe you are true, but if the United States collapse, it will be the same as the USSR when collapsed. It is not good.
I mean, in a sense that it gets collapsed in an upcoming social revolution or any other circumstance that
it will not collapse. It will be United Socialist States of America.
Well, I mean, in a case that it collapses like Russian Empire, that's what I'm saying. That collapse.
But United States are not like Russian Empire. I mean, it is an imperialist country, which is modern imperialist. It is not a feudalist country. It is a bourgeois republic with the workers there. So I don't think that it will be destroyed as the Russian Empire. It can be destroyed as the USSR was destroyed, and it would not be good. Maybe it will be reactionary. Who knows? Maybe it will be chaos. Maybe it will be a new balkanization. But this is already happening. The disintegration of the imperialist chaos is happening. So the only way to stop this chaos, of course, we know the solution. So, and the people in America, we see that they are struggling. So we should expect something from them, and they have a long history. And they have a long history of struggle. So they are learning, and they have American Party of Labor, and they are armed in this way. They have a weapon to overthrow the main imperialist snake and to help the world very much.
Right. That is all good. Thanks for the information about what could happen in the US, though I think due to my mistake in how I asked the question was a bit of a had a little bit of a problem since this question was more of focus on how it would turn out to the situation in Serbia, like US collapses, so what happens in Serbia? Do we go communist or let's say Shasha takes a charge and besides Jews or who?
Well, I think you can answer to yourself from my answer.
Well, your thing, I guess.
Yes.
No. I want to define. Excuse me.
Is there any movement for destroying of the U.S. right now?
Well, if you count this party of labor, and
no, American Party of Labor do not want to destroy United States. It wants to destroy the imperialist power. And we will call Comrade Alfonso if he's there to approve this. He's not there anymore.
I mean, it will not be much of a need. I think I get.
Okay, it is reactionary to go against the achievements of the bourgeois revolution. You cannot go against, I mean, United States, or you wish to destroy France, or you wish to destroy Serbia also, or any other nation. So there would be, we don't like the destructions of nations. We like destruction of imperialist clique, of imperialist power, of concerns and monopoles, capitalist monopoles, and their gangs of fascists. This is what we have to destroy, and to put the American working class and American people on power.
That's what I meant, the destruction of U.S. imperialist state, not what you have described as the destruction of all the people there, you know, nations, such that kind of stuff. So, in all honesty, when you have actually mentioned that,
if we destroy, if the working class destroys U.S. imperialist forces, overthrow the U.S. imperialist forces, and then destroy them, what do you think it can happen?
Create a new socialist state on top of
Yeah,
it.
I mean, the movement would rise, but this is an abstract moment. It is not still the question.
Well, of course, though, this is coming from my experience with many of indigenous and otherwise colonized people from the U.S. who wish to abolish the USA, since that is a colonial state that has oppressed many minorities as such, and it's kind of really strange in this regards to
listen what Lenin has and Marx has to say about the American Revolution. American Revolution is great, and American Revolution fought against colonialism. And without the American Revolution, there wouldn't be a struggle of civil rights and so on. Of course, the United States, especially after the Second World War, became a hardcore imperialist state, very racist, and after this, and very Zhdanov explains in very good manner how imperialist, how USA became the main imperialist force, how it became so strong, how it oversized the old colonial powers. But the story is very rich. I mean, there are, you see, yes, I can speak more about this, but
of course, I get what you mean.
yes.
Overall, this stems from my experience with certain people like Jay Sakai, who basically claim USA was completely reactionary and such. But we have already discussed enough about that.
This is let me tell you, this is part of revisionist decolonization thinking, and this is totally connected with Khrushchevism, 100%. So,
of course, I understand that. I think we have answered that question in that regard. So, in general, I think it's a good position. So,
okay.
now on to the final question, to not more to hurry up, since I do not want to, you know, stagnate for any much longer. In regards to history, this is about region. Was there any formal opposition made of anti-revisionists who followed the line from Moscow towards Tito's clique before the said clique entrenched itself and ousted them from the party in order to implement revisionist theories? If so, who was their exact leader? I'm talking about the opposition party, the Tito's clique, so to say. And who was their leader?
Wait, comrade, but you said that you are from Podgorica, Montenegro. Are you really from there?
Oh yes, though the thing is, they don't teach us shit in school. So they only teach us about Tito implement healthcare, Tito fight.
But come on, man! The whole Montenegro was against Tito. You know how many Montenegro communists went on the prison camp in Goli Otok? Okay, for the international audience, let us be clear.
Of course, though, here the thing is that they don't teach us shit about that, any kind of stuff. Like I've asked many people, they don't know shit. That's the thing.
This is not true. In Montenegro, everybody knows about this. In every house, in lots of houses, you can find a picture of Stalin in Montenegro. So, okay, Vlado Dapčević is from Montenegro. And Vlado Dapčević is the #1 name you should remember. There are also other names like Pero Popivoda. He was a leader of the emigracy of the USSR. But this is not the struggle was epic. The 16,000 communists from the party were not expelled but put in the prison, and 55,000, if I don't mistake, were expelled, more than half of the party. But 60,000 best communists and even people's heroes, partisans. I mean, people's hero is a title in Yugoslavia. This is the most brave, this is the highest title in Yugoslavia that one can get. The people's hero is saint thing. So the best partisans and the best communists were in the prison camp, Goli Otok, the most sadistic. You can read from Vlado Dapčević what he's saying about Goli Otok. It is as one prisoner wrote in a book, there is no God or Stalin. There is no hope there because it is attack from behind by the Tito's group, which would never be expected. And in the new moment when the freedom is there, the Tito's group viciously attacks 16,000 Stalinists and send them to the prison camps and torture them in the most sadistic way, using them to beat the stone from one place to another, beating them in most severe way. There is a word known, warm rabbit, topli zec. It is when you're coming to the Goli Otok. Goli Otok is a naked island in the north. In Croatia, in the north of Adriatic Sea, and when you're coming to the island, the prisoners themselves have to form the column and to beat you severely. If they don't beat you, they will be beaten. Many old party workers, old party workers, like from the founding of the party, like old Labut Kusovac was 70 years old there, and they were beating him to death, like this corruptive, even ex-Chetniks and ex-Ustašas that Tito used to organize. So there was an epic struggle. Everybody knows here what is Goli Otok, and who are the Stalinists that fought in Yugoslavia so bravely. And the story of Vlado Dapčević is a story of modern Prometheus. He's fighting against the current all the time through this revisionist dark period of history, which peoples from East Europe remember as a gray police passing place, which nobody wants to remember anymore. So and Vlado was fighting very bravely against the current, and he was sometimes alone, but he knew that his ideas were right, and the history will prove this. So this is very important stories of the Yugoslav communists fighting against Tito.
Of course. As indeed.
You are not from Montenegro, but we will not check you more on this.
I am from Montenegro, but
okay.
not like it matters that much. So, who was the opposition leader towards the Tito's clique, so to say? I'm not sure if I catch it correctly.
There were many leaders. The most known name from the struggle is Arso Jovanović. He was a leader of the partisan headquarters. He was killed on the boundaries with Romania. He tried together with Vlado Dapčević to cross the border, and he was killed there. And Vlado Dapčević was very important leader in the camps. Pero Popivoda, as I tell you, is a leader in the Soviet Union. He was also present at the 19th Party Congress of the Bolshevik Party, the last Congress Stalin was present there at the 19th Congress. So there are lots of more names.
Of course, I understand, but those two are the most prominent leaders against Tito's revisionist clique.
There are lots of things happening there. There was some group also wanted to organized a party in Bar. This is in Montenegro. But these are these are Brezhnevites. They were not real Stalinists. So yeah, there are lots of the stories, huge, but yes, there was a
no
struggle.
united opposition
There was a
under one
bloody
leader.
struggle.
Of course.
What?
So basically, no centralized opposition under one leader. It's just so many groups that were anti-revisionists against Tito's clique. So because he was popular, I understand that.
Well, while Stalin was alive, the communist movement was united. But of course, after Stalin's death, the communist movement divided. So you can say that all this was manifested also in our movement, in the anti-revisionist movement in Yugoslavia. So you have some testifies that Vlado Dapčević and Pero Popjevoda didn't agree themselves in Moscow. So you have some right, yes.
Of course. Anyway, that will be all of the questions I have asked. I apologize for taking up so long. It's just that I need to have an answer on most of these questions because of our current situation we face in right now, and to clear up some misconceptions that I had with Maoists in the past about the current state of US
Pero
imperialism.
Popjevoda, you know why this is interesting story. You know why Pero Popjevoda and Vlado Dapčević couldn't agree? But one point is that Pero Popjevoda didn't figure out good as Vlado Dapčević that what?
I'm here.
One of the points is that Pero Popjevoda didn't figure out the danger from Khrushchevism as Vlado Dapčević in that very moment realized. So this is one part of the story. Pero Popjevoda in his memoirs attacked Khrushchevism very severely. But in that moment, he didn't realize this. But there is another point. Pero Popjevoda wrote that Tito had negotiations with the Germans before the Battle of Sutjeska. And Vlado Dapčević just couldn't believe this. He was in his heart, he couldn't believe this. But this really happened. Later on, all the documents about this got up to the surface. And Chetniks very much used this moment. They say, why we are collaborationists when we see that Tito was also collaborationist? And really, Tito was speaking about them about peace. He believed them that they will not attack. A lot of many of the general commanders in the partisan movement say that Tito was surprised by the attack.
Of course,
which became a catastrophe. And not just that, the negotiators with the Germans are also very interesting. One of them is later pronounced in the Comintern resolution, Vlatko Velebit, as imperialist agent. And Tito is not against this claim. He said he is, but we should not be. But he said, but we should not be harsh to him. And he said, why should we? We didn't say to be harsh to him. We just said to remove him from the place of the foreign office, so that we don't write to you over him because he's giving this to the English ones. Okay, but what we say, and then the Titoites, they just don't want to speak about this.
Of course,
because the Chetniks use this. But we speak about this very much, and we say there is a proof that Tito is Chetnik instead of Chetniks. This is a betrayal of the partisan movement and of the Comintern, and we see this in the Dimitrov's critics of these negotiations. And we see this in the testifies of the negotiators. They say that the partisans didn't want to approve the orders from this. They didn't want to approve not attacking the railway between the Zagreb and Belgrade. And you can see very similar how Tito is responding to Comintern in 1948 and in 1943. It is very similar way of responding. Capricious, ambitious, and pathetic. It is very hard to us, and so on. So So this bourgeois nationalism, this clique, this mentality of the clique is already represented in these treacherous negotiations. So Tito is Draža instead of Draža. This is very important. This is not accident, because in 42, in this period, there were a lot of betrayals in the partisan headquarters because the situation was very hard. There were a lot of betrayals. There are a lot of Chetniks putches, Chetniks coup d'etats in the partisan headquarters. It is the story of Mladen Stojanovic. Dr. Mladen is very known, widely known. Some guy, Rade Radic, he was old party member of the Communist Party of Yugoslavia, but he betrayed. He made a coup. He killed the Dr. Mladen, who was popular as Che Guevara in those regions. He was popular as doctor before the war. People loved him. He was very popular, and he made a coup d'état in the partisan headquarters from that region and moved into the Chetniks, and then later attacked together with the Germans and the Ustashas. They made a slaughter in Kozara. You know the Kozara. Everybody should watch the film. Everybody should watch the film Kozara from Veljko Bulajic. This made him a very popular international director. Kozara was saw in more than 60 countries. Very popular because it is a really brilliant film. It is about the offensive of the Germans and the Ustashas and Chetniks against the people of the region of Kozara and the struggle of the people of the partisans. The film is brilliant. So Vlado Dapčević just couldn't believe this. And we say that Vlado Dapčević in his heart was still a Titoist. That's why he made so much mistakes in the 90s. Marxist-Leninist movement condemned some of the stands of the party of Vlado Dapčević on imperialism. They said that imperialism is a factor of peace on the Balkans. So this was not a correct stand. And we say that this is reminiscences of Titoism in his heart. But this is in any way don't changing the great historical role of Vlado Dapčević. We understand that why he gave so much struggle in this. He gave so much blood in this partisan war that he wanted Yugoslavia to be kept in any price, for any price. So this is why he chose the nationalism before Marxism-Leninism, and that is why he supported these imperialist forces that Marxist-Leninist movement internationally condemned. So this is one of the mistakes of his party. But nevertheless, we respect him and appreciate him very highly. Very highly. He is our hero. He is our picture. We are holding his pictures. We will hold his pictures on our rallies.
Indeed, that is pretty much excellent.
Long live the revolutionary remembrance on Vlado Dapčević.
Of course. Now then, that is a pretty clear and excellent answer to my questions. I hope I was clear enough and my questions were nuanced. As well as thanks for the new information regarding this, even though I have my own skepticism regarding the last answer, since, as you have already said, it was very much abused by the reactionaries. But overall, I do think that you have a credible information about this subject. So basically, thank you for answering my questions.
Salut, comrade.
Of course, do svidanja, tovariši.
Do svidanja.
All right. That has been around 40 minutes now.
Did you get bored with these stories from our national boundaries?
Actually, it has been really interesting, but this has actually been perfect to end today's event. I still have...
How many questions are left?
Actually, that was the last question.
Oh, great.
So thank you very much for being present today with us on our Discord. is there anything in regards to organizing or anything motivational that you would like to tell our international audience on Discord and on YouTube
Yes.
prior to closing our
I have
event?
Yes, I have to tell you, Felix, and to all the comrades, follow the party, engage in the class struggle. Internet discussions are fine, but of course we should get out there in the real life and to be engaged in the class struggle, in the working class movement, in the youth organizing, in the women's organizing, in the people's organizing. So this is very important, and this is expected from you.
All right. So, thank you very much, Comrade Marco. Thank you for having had been present with us today, and thanks a lot for having had accepted the invite that I sent to you. I really appreciate that you have been with us today, and thanks a lot for answering those questions so thoroughly, for telling us a lot about the current political situation in the Balkan countries, about the plans you have in the future, and also for elaborating on Marxist-Leninist theory, especially on Yugoslavian history. Especially thanks a lot to Hoshai's party member for the long and thorough questions. And yes, thanks a lot to the audience. And especially a great thanks to Comrade Maximizer. He has programmed a bot for us to properly host the event. He has taken care of the creation of the image, which has been sent around. So he has done all of the design work. He has set up everything. He has created the advertisement picture. He's hosting the YouTube stream. He has integrated the questions into the YouTube stream and so on. And without Maximizer, a lot of what had happened today wouldn't have been possible. I think that everyone who has been present on the live stream with when we had Comrade Alfonso from the American Party of Labor with us here knows that last time was pretty unorganized, but I am really glad that everything worked out so well today, despite a few small technical issues, but I think those aren't really problematic. So thanks a lot for having
I
helped me
hope
with
that the sound was good here also. I hope that I wasn't so much loud. You were much more less noisy than me, I guess. But I hope everybody was pleasant.
Dear chat, I would like for an applause in the assembly chat. Comrade Marco, you can look into the assembly chat to see the applause given by the audience. You can see Comrade Enver Hoxha a lot.
Okay. Party, Enver, Yamigati Gurda.
Can you see it? Can you see the GIFs?
Yes, I can see them, I guess.
All right. So, yes, and as a few last closing words, I hope that today's event has been inspiring to our comrades, both on YouTube and on Discord, to actually join your national Marxist-Leninist party or organization and to get organized in real life. I hope that if you couldn't follow with a few things, that you see this as an inspiration to engage yourself more with Marxist-Leninist theory, but especially to actually engage yourself in a practical class struggle, because there's a very famous German saying from a German communist, which goes as follows: a communist can read as much theory as he wants and participate in as much writing, but without a party, without his communist party, a communist is a nobody. So
yes, this is true.
Please do not forget the significance of getting organized. And I hope those were a few motivating words. We will host our study circle, where we will continue with Karl Marx's Wage, Labor, and Capital tomorrow on Saturday. So just for everyone listening. Thanks a lot for participating, and I would like to close these events with these words. Thanks a lot to the audience. Thanks a lot to you, Comrade Marco. Is there anything anyone wants to add?
Thank you, comrades.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure to meet you and to discuss with you. And I hope we were helpful. And I hope that the technicalities were good. That it was pleasant. Hey, one comrade wants to say something.
Hello?
Yeah, sorry, my mic didn't work correctly again. What I wanted to say is that I also want to thank Felix for hosting this event as well. Because in my opinion, he did a phenomenal job.
Yes, thank you, Felix.
No problem. So, goodbye, everyone. And this has been today's event. We'll see you next time. I don't know if we will host such an event in the future again. Hopefully, we will do. Let's see who will be our next special guest. Goodbye.
Goodbye.